Hey guys, today I'm going to give you my honest opinion of what it is like to be a Cambly tutor. This video is not sponsored by Cambly. Now, I've been working as a tutor for Cambly for about 8 months now, and here are my current statistics. To become a Cambly tutor, I simply had to fill in the online form and create an introduction video explaining who I am and what experience I have. The whole process was really simple, and within a couple of weeks I received a confirmation email from Cambly saying that I had been approved as a tutor. So what can you expect when you first start as a teacher on Cambly? Well, Cambly will direct you to the tutor guide, which I strongly recommend reading. It has 6 parts and it covers all of the main questions that you might have, including how to set up, what equipment you might need to get started, what your background should look like, and how to start talking to students. It is really useful, and it now has lots of videos that go along with it as well, so they're quite helpful to watch. Now, you might have heard of priority hours. What are they? A priority hour is a 1-hour block where you commit to being available on Cambly for that full hour, and you will answer all incoming calls. Cambly will also feature you to new students, and they'll pay you for at least 15 minutes of chat time just for completing the hour, even if you don't get any calls. They're a great way to meet new students and build up your base of regulars. To be honest, I don't really like doing priority hours. You will often have to talk to the students that have just signed up to the site, and they get a free 5-minute trial. Some of them are just kids that are messing about. Some accidentally call you, and they're absolutely terrified when a real person pops up on their screen, so they hang up straight away. It can be a bit of a mixed bag. Some of the best chats that I've had on Cambly have been while doing priority hours. Sometimes you'll get students that are happy to speak to a tutor and you'll have a 30-minute discussion with them. If they like you, they might save you as one of their favourite teachers, and they'll come back and book more and more lessons with you again in the future. All tutors, when they first start out on Cambly, basically have to start out picking up loads of priority hours. Once you've been teaching for a while, Cambly will change your new teacher status to a rating. And that rating is based on a 5-star scale, and it's taken from the ratings that your students give you at the end of each lesson. As a teacher, you're aiming to have at least a 4.8 rating. The higher your rating, the more students will check out your profile and the more students will book lessons with you. So I am now at the stage where I've not had to have a priority hour for several months. I just set my availability and students book their lessons with me in advance. So I find that a lot more enjoyable. Once you've been teaching for a while, you'll pick up a series of regular students, and that's great. You end up making really good friends with some wonderful people from all around the world. Now, what have been some of my favourite moments? Well, I've had some really good chats with students. There have been times where it just feels wrong that I am being paid to have such a nice chat with people. One of my favourite lessons was with a student that was reading a book in English. She simply read the book to me, and every time she didn't understand a word or a phrase, then I would explain it to her, or I would act it out for her. It was a really enjoyable lesson, and I've had several other really nice lessons like that. Have there been any bad students? Well, yes, there have been 3 that I can think of in 8 months. So that's not too bad. And they weren't particularly bad either. They were just slightly rude people that hung up after a couple of minutes. because they didn't like the lesson. So overall, I've not really had many bad experiences. Most of the students that I have spoken to have been really polite. Here is a common question. Do people expose themselves on camera? So that's one of the things that you hear about, but it's never happened to me. It might happen to female tutors more than men, and it will certainly be more likely to happen if you are on a priority hour rather than a lesson that's been booked in advance. But no, it's never happened to me. If it does ever happen, there is a big red button that will immediately ban the student. So all you need to do is click that and it'll end the call. One question I was asked was, do you get more male or female students? And to be honest, it's probably about 70% men and 30% women that book my sessions. Now, this is going to vary depending on the teacher. Some female tutors have said that they attract more men. But then again, some female students may be more comfortable speaking to a woman, so they might book a female teacher. But as I said, in my experience, my students are about 70% men and 30% women. Another common question that people have is, do you need to teach specific groups of people or specific subjects? So for instance, do you need to teach children? Do you have to teach business English? Cambly is great for helping tutors to teach what they are comfortable teaching. So you can put into your teaching profile what type of teacher you are and what you like to teach. So for example, I am primarily a business English teacher. I have years of experience in business, so that is what I teach. Now, I have seen some teachers specifically write on their profiles, no children. But I find I don't particularly need to write that. I'm a business teacher. That is what my profile is targeted towards. I talk about my business experience. And so mostly the students that book with me are engineers and lawyers and doctors. They are business people that want to improve their business English. If you want to teach children, you can sign up as a Cambly children's tutor, and you'll actually get paid a little bit more per minute. Now, I'll be honest, I'm rubbish at teaching kids. It is a completely different skill set from teaching adults. So while I do teach some children, for the most part, I stick to teaching business English and conversational English. That is what I enjoy doing. Another question people often ask is, do you need to have a teaching qualification? Well, technically, no. The only requirement is that you are a native or fluent English speaker. There are some very successful tutors on Cambly that have very high ratings from their students, but they don't have any teaching qualifications. I would say, however, that you are more likely to book students if they can see that you do have a teaching qualification. It's displayed just under your name, so at a glance, the students can see which teachers have qualifications and which don't. So now the big question. How much money can you earn with Cambly? Not much. The current rate is 17 cents per minute, so that's $10.20 an hour. Though of course you may not be speaking for the full hour. So for example, if you are doing a priority hour, I found that I would speak to students for an average of about 40 minutes during that hour. So that actually works out to just $6.80 per hour, which is not a great rate of pay. Now that I'm just doing 30 or 60-minute lessons with students that have booked in advance, it means that I am getting paid only for the time that I work. So that actually works out a lot better. A student books a 30-minute session with me, I log on, I do the 30-minute session, and I log off again. But even then, that's still quite a low wage compared to British wages. If you're living in Cambodia, Thailand, Colombia, and you're working for Cambly, then you'll find it's easily enough to get by on. If you live like I do though in the UK, or if you live in America, then you will probably need another source of income. Now I work on Cambly on my evenings and weekends, and I love it, but it is not my main source of income. Now, do I have any tips for new tutors? Yes. Add the courses to your profile. Cambly currently have 20 different courses that students can take, and loads of teachers do not add these courses to their profiles. And this means that those teachers will not appear in search results when students are looking for a tutor to go through a particular course with them. If students search for a business English teacher, I appear in their results because I have added that course to my profile. I've told them that I can teach the business English classes. The other tip is to have a list of basic conversation starter questions ready. Sometimes you might get a student that is not very chatty, and it can be difficult to keep a conversation going for 30 minutes. So having a list of interesting questions handy can be quite helpful at times. It's also useful to ask students questions about their country, their likes, their dislikes. Use the opportunity to learn new things. I've had some really interesting conversations with students about their country's history, or the jobs that the students do, their local geography. Find something that the student is passionate about and get them talking about it. Where possible, I try to avoid conversations that can be quite divisive, things like religion, politics. But it still comes up from time to time. So if it does come up in conversation, make sure that you are respectful of other people's beliefs and listen to their point of view. Cambly is not a place for you to try and convert others to your way of thinking. So always be respectful and polite to your students. What is my overall verdict? I love Cambly. Genuinely, it's awesome. The money is a bit rubbish, and it sucks that you can't set your own rate of pay like you can on other online teaching platforms. But other than that, Cambly is great. I have loved meeting students from all around the world. Most of my students are doctors, engineers, lawyers, and I've had some really interesting conversations with them. If you're thinking of becoming a Cambly tutor, then I can highly recommend it. If you have any other questions, leave them in the comments below and I'll try to answer them as soon as possible. If you enjoyed this video, then please leave a like because it really helps the channel out, and don't forget to subscribe as well. I'll see you in the next one.